What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a preview for Festival of the Lost for 2024. As always, the event's going to return in October. According to Bungie's press release for Revenant, it will actually be on October 29th, so right at the back end of the month. Unless of course we get any updates on that release date. But in this video we're going to talk about rewards. Of course there's new armor, a new weapon, plenty of cosmetic items, but also some pursuits, and interestingly, one of the things we'll be able to earn from Festival this year includes exotic class items, that is at least according to the database. So we'll discuss what we know about that, as well as new weapons, perks, and some things worth knowing for this year's event. So as always guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. If you do, a rating down below really helps us on the channel, but now let's get into it. And so first up, we can see right here the card for Festival of the Lost this year, an indication that Headless Ones will return, so we're going to be going back into haunted sectors, collecting pages from the Book of the Forgotten, and more or less doing a very similar thing to what we've done in previous festival events. Also on the card though, we can see a couple of cosmetic items on the left-hand side. We'll discuss more of those in a moment, but there's also an in-game render for the Festival of the Lost armor for this year. So these were the armor sets we voted for a few months back around the time that Into the Light came out, and thematically they are actually pretty cool if you ask me. As always though, Festival of the Lost armor sets are not a gameplay reward, and it would appear that they're still going to be offered via the Eververse store. So looking at today in Destiny, they've got all of the items for Eververse listed. And we can see the cost of 1500 silver or 6,000 bright dust, and that pretty much is the same cost that we've seen in previous years for the armor set. So those will be available in bundles on the event tab. Additionally though, Bungie are bringing back all of the previous years of festival armor, or I think this is all of them. There's the Machine Skirmisher set, the dinosaur themed sets, last year's set which was kind of spider themed, and I think the one from the first year the festival was available in Destiny 2, and all of them have the same costs listed. So just keep in mind if you do decide to purchase any of the old armor sets, there is both a silver or bright dust option for them. So that's the armor. Before we go much further though, looking at Eva Levante's inventory, at least in the database right now, we can see this sort of reward track of festival items that we'll be able to pick up. That includes base armor sets, the grab bags that have a bunch of bundled festival items, also the festival memento, and the new weapon. We'll talk more about that new weapon in a moment, but there's a separate tab with event rewards on Eva, and these actually contain exotic class items from the final shape. Now, we should say immediately, it isn't clear if this will be a new way to actually acquire them or just a purchase option for folks who already have them, much like we see on Xur at the moment for instance, but they are going to be a potential reward for the event that can be purchased with one of the eerie engrams that we can pick up, as well as 2,000 candy, and every time we grab them they will be selected with random perks. So not something I was expecting to see from Festival of the Lost, but it's at least confirmed that this will be a way to get additional rolls of the exotic class items, if not an initial acquisition source for them. We'll have to wait and see what Bungie have to say when they announce it. Also, there will be the focused decoding menu where we can simply open engrams or target specific weapons, and we can see on top of the new weapons, a bunch of the previous year's weapons will be introduced again with some updated rolls. There'll also be eerie exotic engrams like we saw last year, and there'll be exotic decoding for those too. Largely, these are going to contain the same exotics that they had last year. The new ones for Revenant aren't included. It's worth mentioning that up front. And so that side of things will be relatively similar to the last event. There is a new weapon though, which is called the Arcane Embrace, and according to the database, this is an arc heavy burst shotgun, which fires a hard-hitting 2-round burst, and unless there's an error there for some reason, it looks like we'll now have a shotgun in this archetype, which is certainly very interesting. Looking at the potential perks that it can roll though, in the first trade slot, it can get Air Trigger, 4th times the charm, Grave Robber, then Lone Wolf, a new perk this episode, which slightly improves aim assist, ADS, and airborne effectiveness, and it increases these effects when there are no nearby allies. But Slide Shot, Dual Loader, and Threat Detector will also be potential perks in the first slot. Then for the second column, there is Closing Time, which improves range, accuracy, and handling as the magazine gets lower. Plus Desperado is listed, as well as Precision Instrument, Surrounded, Tap the Trigger, Swashbuckler, and Vault Shot. And so quite an interesting weapon really overall, some good bonuses there as well, indicating Bungie are maybe thinking outside of the box a little bit for this year's festival weapon. And there'll be a triumph actually that will allow us to earn one of these as well, called Blunderboos to defeat targets with shotguns, and defeating Guardians in Crucible or Gambit will provide additional progress, and it lists 150 as the target there, so that will at least be one guaranteed source for the weapon. Otherwise, we'll be able to pick it up from Eerie Engrams, focus in, and things like that. Also this year though, we get some new masks, as we often see. These were rounded up by Destiny Bulletin, so full credit to them for that. This is the image from thegamepost.com. We can see there'll be a runner mask. This actually is a marathon themed item. We see one of the runners in the marathon trailer that looks identical to this, so that's interesting. But also there'll be a Nezarec mask, Cursed Thrall, Caddy 5530, Kate 6, the Witness, and let's be real, the Witness looks absolutely blazed there. And then there's Finalized Ghost, and the Tower Staff Mask, which is a mask themed on the folks who are walking around in the tower, not really doing anything by the looks of things. So there are the new masks at least, and then of course there'll be an event card, and we can see from this image here some of the items that will drop in that. So the upgrade rewards include an exotic emote, Sparrow, and a ghost shell. But then for other cosmetic items that'll be featured in the event, we won't go into these in a massive level of detail because a lot of the new stuff don't actually have images uploaded for the database yet outside of the thumbnails for them, but you can see loads of new ghosts there and returning ones from previous years that actually have a silver exclusive cost, so any of them that have the silver icon over the top won't be able to be purchased for Bright Dust, but there are some new and returning ones which will also sell for Bright Dust during the event. So there's another Ghost like we had many years ago, the sort of UFO styled one. And then of course there are sparrows and ships, and a couple of those ships look really nice. Again, we can't preview them fully yet, but we'll see the addition, or return, sorry, of some of the weapon ornaments for exotics from previous years. I can't see any new ones listed at the moment, so looks like there'll be the Grand Overture, Parasite, and Fighting Lion ornaments that we've had in previous years available once again. And with the event being 3 weeks, we'll basically get one of those per week for Bright Dust. So sort of a mixed bag as always, but the couple of interesting components, I suppose, for most players will be either the new armor, if you really want to pick it up, the new weapon, which does look pretty interesting, the potential of being able to pick up exotic class items. I'll reiterate, it is not guaranteed or confirmed that this will be a new acquisition source for class items if you haven't previously earned them from Dual Destiny, so we shouldn't get our hopes up too much on that front just yet, although anything is possible based on Bungie logic, I guess. We'll simply wait and see, but for today, that is a preview for Festival this year. So give us your thoughts on the armor, the new weapon, any standout roles you think might be there, the introduction of class items as potential reward, and your general feels for the event this time around. If you've enjoyed the video though, a rating also helps us on the channel, and be sure to get subscribed so I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.